Well, welcome to Worth the Effort's Monday after lunch discussion. Just a little unscripted talk on what we've done this past week, what we plan on doing the upcoming week, where we're going, and I try to include some small quality woodworking lesson along the way to make it worth your while. Now, some of y'all may have noticed, but most of you probably didn't, that we took last month off. From all my knowledge, a lot of people tell me the summer months, the last month is always the slowest for YouTubers and stuff like that. And I had a lot to get done. While we took that month off from YouTube, I finished liquidating the school. It's quite a bit empty, but I was able now to pull all my power tools out from behind the curtains that are normally hidden when students were here, because I'm doing a lot of production woodworking. Starting to put my foot where my mouth is on actually getting stuff done here. Also did a whole bunch of job hunting along the way, trying to get into the university or the cabinet shops or just about anywhere. My teaching experience and my woodworking experience and my past marketing and sales experience could do some good. Lots of applications, lots of online stuff, lots of time wasted, feel like, but it's stuff you gotta do. I've also been talking because a formal job doesn't look too promising in this market right now for teachers. You're going to be drawing in income from a bunch of different places. We are currently in a couple art galleries, but I've been pitching a lot of my small art stuff that can be sold as table decorations that normally sell at this time of year in art markets to some local restaurants and stuff. So stuff that a waitstaff could probably, do a hint, hey, our table decorations are for sale if you're interested, kind of promotion. I'm getting into starting to make some urns. We did a lot of prototyping. I've gotten a CNC machine, so I'm starting to do some metal inlay work, and I hope to do some other stuff. But we've been prototyping some urns, some boxes, different kinds of boxes, and I think that's probably what I will be specializing in. Box making, simply because it's something I enjoy doing. I can do it in small batches, and it's stuff that I can sell online to people like y'all to help support the school or our online efforts for the school from now on. Now, in today's video, the lesson I'm going to be talking about isn't actually a woodworking skill, but it's actually marketing your stuff at art markets. I've worked art markets for a couple years now, but I've always done them as more of a marketing aspect for the school to promote getting students in. But this fall season, the holiday season, the gift-giving season is the best time of year to work the markets. So to get income coming in, I'm going to start working it really hard. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to bring y'all along. We'll discuss what's involved in setting up, the cost and stuff, and I'll give you up front what we actually return so you can get a good idea of how much effort you need to put in to get good returns out. So y'all can follow along and see how it's going to do. It'll be a bit of an experiment, but I'll call that my market news for each of our weekly discussions. And I will tell you what I'm making for the market to specifically do that, which is one of the reasons why I acquired a CNC machine when Inventables called me up and offered one for free in exchange for a good, honest review of it in the video form. Now that comes to what you can expect from us this coming week, because I'm going to have 2 videos coming out in addition to this one on the CNC machine, the build, and what I'm actually using it for. The agreement was that Inventables just wanted an honest review of my experience in the build aspect of it and post a video of that one. But I always like to give a little bit more in return, so I'm going to do a really cool project video to show you how I'm using it. It might be interesting for those of y'all that are trying to get into the art market, craft markets, because it does become a small apprentice that's doing a lot of busy work for you. An example of that is when you work art markets, you don't even want to have some kind of low price impulse buys. So with Halloween coming up for this next 4 weeks, I want to have some kind of Halloween impulse buy. So I've been having the machine running pretty much around the clock. It is kind of a slow machine. I'll get that to in the review. I'm making little Halloween houseplant scarecrows for people to use. And the machine just runs and batches them out. So every 6 hours I just reload the wood in and start the program again. And then I have to do a little bit of sanding, a little bit of bandsawing to finish it up. But it doesn't take much. And I've literally produced, I think, 600 of these little items, and I'm done unless we sell out of them, and then I can make some more, and I'm going to move on. This week, my goal is to be able to produce some hand mirrors for ladies or gifts. So I bought a bunch of these little 6-inch beveled mirrors, and I'm going to set the CNC machine to do a lot of the busy work. So while it's working, I'm off on the side doing something else. Mainly this week is going to be making boxes to sell at art markets, and I can start going to some veterinarian clinics and starting to offer as pet urns, and that's kind of another aspect of the market where you're going to be having income coming in from various different directions. I hope to be talking to a lot of veterinarian clinics about having them sell little pet urns for us, and we can custom monogram them with metal inlay, which was what I was prototyping earlier in the week. I have several big boxes of all my scraps I've been setting aside for a long time. Bodar, maple, walnut, and that's what we will be using to make boxes, and I hope to have several hundred of them, depending upon my speed, because I only managed to make 3 yesterday, of making them for upcoming events. This weekend is going to be at Art Squared in San Marcos. Another thing we're working on this week is I'm trying to start a new series on Instagram, just a quick little video on little tips and techniques to do around the shop, and we'll see how that works out. Now for your woodworking lesson today, let's talk about art markets. I am going to be going to at least one art market a week for the rest of the year, trying to sell items because this is a busy time of year, and we need to get cash flow coming in because I have about 7 more weeks in this place, and then I got find another warehouse, hopefully a lot cheaper, that I can both live in and work out of for this to keep rolling along. Now, if you're going to be working the market, you need some basic numbers. And these are just some I'm going to throw out at you, just off the top of my head, that we try and cover. Booth fees, setting up. Some places you go to will be free, but generally, the free ones, you're not going to have very good sales because they haven't done a lot of advertising, marketing, and stuff like that. It's just going to be the local community, that kind of stuff. Then for us woodworkers, we can go to places like farmers markets because if you're selling woodenwares like wooden bowls, cutting boards, that kind of stuff, those go over well with cooks and stuff like that. And the farmers markets are kind of our mentality that people like the naturalness of the wood. If you're reclaiming stuff, reusing stuff, repurposing stuff, that tends to go over halfway decently there. Though I'm going to tell you this here and now. Don't go to the same farmer's market every single week. You're going to saturate it. Try and hit it maybe once, maybe twice a month, and then go find another one somewhere else a distance away to continue on. I have a art farmer's market locally that I did go to almost every single weekend for a long period of time, and your sales just kind of plateau out at the lower end because people expect you to be there, so they'll say, I'll just pick it up next week or I'll put it off. If you're only there once a month or once every other month and the regulars know you're going to be there, they'll save up and then they'll buy a whole bunch of stuff at once, and you get more regulars by having your market set up at different booths. I will tell you this. Farmers markets, you're going to be paying, at least in Texas in this area, anywhere from about $25 to $50 to set up. The place I go has always done about $40, and I've done them all different rates. But you have other fees involved there. You've got to get there. If it's a local market, you still have to pay for gas, and we are talking minute amounts of money, but this is a thin margin area. You're not going to make a killing working art markets. Gas, food, that kind of stuff. I drive a truck. It's a V6 truck, but it still only gets about 15 miles per gallon when it's loaded up. So I'm probably going to be spending about $6 in gas, and I'm going to be bringing sack lunches and that kind of stuff to eat, bottled water because it's out on a black top. A lot of times it's going to get hot. So you're going to spend, let's say, $10, being cheap there. Okay. Now here's an expense that a lot of people don't consider. You still have to pay for your rent, insurance, electric, all that kind of stuff for your shop that you build stuff, even though you're not there working. And if you're like me, you're spending, $2,500 to $3,000 a month for all that inclusive. Well, that's a pretty big nut. I like to divide that number by 20, saying that I'm going to work 5 days a week there and 1 day somewhere else, and I'll kind of slack off 1 day and relax half the day or something like that. So if you divide that by 20, you come up with a number. Well, that's a big old number to cover with. That's $150 right there. Then you have your loans, your depreciation for all the equipment you needed to make the stuff to take to the market. Now, I run a school. I still have about $6,000 outstanding debt on credit cards and stuff like that for the school that I use to buy equipment, that kind of stuff. So that's my debt right now. So you take that, divide that by 4, because you're only going to be paying for 1 week of that. And that comes out to about $200 a month for me, with the idea that I'm going to pay off all my credit cards in 3 years. Cross my fingers. Then you have your time. What's your time worth? Okay? I have a goal of making $36,000 a year to cover all my expenses and not much else. I'm working about 60 hours a week. I figured 2 weeks out of the year I would take off for holidays or whatever. So that comes out to, if you do all the math, about $12 an hour. So you wake up at 6 a.m. to pack up your truck, do whatever you need to, and you're not going to get back until about 3 or 4 if you're working a farmer's market, because most of them go from 9 to 1. If you're doing an art market, it's going to be a lot longer, because those generally don't close until sundown. So, there we go. So, 6 a.m. to, let's say 3. There's 3. 9 hours. 9 times 12 is $108. So, just setting up for a farmer's art market is going to run you... Let's round this up to 110. 10, about $400. That's just setting up at a cheap market. All expenses included. Okay? Well, let me give you an example of what happened this past weekend. I went to art market. It's the beginning of October. I'm doing my big push right now. We had a whole new display set up. I'll show you that one. That's one of the things I worked on last week, building a display that can break down very easily, be put up, and it looks a little bit more professional, hopefully, than tables and chairs just covered with blankets to set stuff up. Now, I don't have quite as many shelves as I need to, because shelves are expensive, and I ran out of money buying shelves, but eventually this will be surrounded by wood shelving that looks appropriate for art market, for upscale art market that I'll be displaying stuff in. But that's one of the expenses you gotta include up here that you're working on. So I went there and we basically sold 2 art pieces. One was a little tree, a holiday tree, and then I sold one of my prototypes that honestly I wasn't too proud of it, so I didn't have it priced where it probably should have been, because I just want to move it. It was just an experiment for me. But art markets like this allow you to sell your seconds. Your really good stuff are probably going to be picked up by the art galleries, and we have a few of those that are marketing our stuff right now. Anyways, so I sold $105 of merchandise. You can already see where I'm going. Sales. 105. That's total sales, okay? Now, how much time did I put into those items to sell it based on our $12 of working hour? I want to say I had probably about 4 hours invested in those. So that is roughly $48. So 105 minus 48. Round it out. We're now at 60 bucks. You figure maybe 20, 30, half of that would be labor. So I walked out, let's say $40. So I had a net loss this weekend of $370. It wasn't a great weekend, but that's what happens sometimes. It's somewhat of a crapshoot. What I have found as a general rule is on a good weekend when I sell stuff, I'm going to sell maybe 15% of the inventory I show out there. So if I have $3,000 worth of inventory, I'm probably only going to sell $450. So you have to have a lot of good quality variable inventory to go out there. So let's talk about inventory and what I do to boost sales. I will tell you this, my booth fees, I generally don't worry about those, because I make and sell stuff right in front of people that, let's call it cash in hand sales. that kind of covers those costs, and I'll talk about that in a second too. Now, successfully working markets as a woodworker is a bit of an art form, and I'm not going to pretend that I have all the answers. Obviously, I bombed this past weekend, so I didn't have the right answers there. But I'm going to explain a few things that I think work out pretty well and have been worked for us occasionally in the past. Once again, every art market is going to be a bit differently, and some are going to be hit and misses. Some of them you're going to spend your entire time not making a single sale, but you're building up your audience, because you do have a lot of repeat people out there that will buy something at a later date, which is why it's fairly important to be at least consistent and tell people when you're going to be coming in. Tell them, hey, I'm only here every other month on the first Saturday or the first Saturday of the month, like I do at my local farmers market. Tell them this event is the second Saturday of the month or the second week in the month, and we attend it regularly. But have some kind of set pattern that you can tell people, so that if they don't buy now, they have in their back of their mind, hey, I have a wedding coming up. This guy made plates. Each plate had a story. He can engrave it for me. Let's go back to there and buy something local, support our local artists. Put all those things in there. You are a marketing machine when you are out on the market, which is one thing I have a problem with when I see a lot of other people that go set up. Maybe you made a bunch of bowls or boxes, or you're building furniture. You set out a couple tables, put curtains on the top of it. You grab your chair, you sit behind the table, you display stuff. People walk past them. They never talk to them. They are not talking. They are not selling them. They are just basically being a window display, and pretty much most woodworkers are not pretty enough to be a good quality window display or model. Okay? So we've got to work for it. We are more akin to those barkers in Times Square standing outside strip clubs. We're the rated G version, but we need to bring people in, which is why every time I work a market, I try and do some kind of demonstration. Something that's quick and easy that I can finish in 2 to 5 minutes if I have an audience there. And then I need to bring that audience in. One of my most popular one is I will actually take a lathe out there. We've invested in a generator to power the lathe if we don't have power. And I'll spin little spinning tops all day long. I might spend 100 of these in a day, but it keeps people's attention. And as marketing for the school, this was a great lesson on leverage, power transfer. I got to talk about wood. I got to talk about resonance. I got to bring a lot to my presentation and make it entertaining. The product you want to pick, though, needs to be something for kids or something like that, because that's what's going to draw them in, get the parents in. And while you're entertaining kids or teens, the parents will be looking around, and invariably they're going to be buying whatever you're showing them. These I sell for $2 to $3, and if you sell 20 of them, there's that $40 booth fee, and it's not too hard to sell 20 in a day. A lot of times we will sell 60 or 70 of these and cover our gas and everything too. Other things I like to do in the past, is if you have just hand tools, is making little helicopters. Take out your spoke shaves, put a piece of wood in a clamp, hand the spoke shave to a kid, let them do the blades, and you just get the blades offset like that, put a dowel in the middle, then they can spin it like that and they'll just fly up in the air. Warning, some other vendors don't like that. Also, I have found that some vendors just don't like being set up next to me, because I tend to make wood shavings. I tend to draw a crowd, and if you get 40 people in front of a little 10 by 10 bench watching you, the traffic for every other vendor around you just stops. And I have had people say they don't want to set up next to me for that exact reason. It seems strange that you're drawing such a good crowd that other vendors don't want to be there, but that's how it's got to work. You've got to drag those people in. You've got to make a mark in their memory that they know where to come to for fine woodworking, gifts and stuff like that. As far as products, you always want to have a few halo pieces out. You're not going to sell a $600 piece of artwork at a farmer's market. I hate to say that. It would be nice, but it just doesn't happen. Occasionally, I will sell $200 to $300 worth of bowls to one customer. They're buying a bunch of gift for somebody, but it's not going to be that one item. But you want that one item in there to talk to people, to show them, hey, we can do this kind of quality. Look at the really figured in it. And they'll keep that in mind. Maybe they'll call you later on. You need to have a price point, though, that there's a bunch of different levels in there. A lot of our products, our bowls, we sell anywhere from $40 to about $250. And most of them are in the $60 to $80 range. We also sell boxes and stuff like that. And I have some low price items like pens and stuff. Pens are also a great demonstration item because I can make and finish a pen in about 5 minutes if I have the little blanks already set up and I use as a wax finish polish. And basically the person gets to see the pen being made right in front of them, and if that person is interested in buying that pen, mark it up $5. They'll pay it because they saw it. It was the entertainment value that you added to the pen that they will remember for the rest of their life when they use that pen. So they are getting good value out of it. They just pick a pen out of the rack, just charge what you want. A lot of times on little items like this, I do not post prices on it because I want people to ask me about those prices. You also want to have some kind of impulse buys. Once again, I turn these little tops a lot of times, and I'll have a bowl over there with 30 or 40 of them, and those are impulse buys. If somebody's not watching demonstration, they'll grab 5 or 6 of these for their nieces and nephews, take them home with them. Quick little things, not that much money. Which is what I did with these Halloween things right here, is I'm selling them for $5 each, or I think $5 each, or 6 for $20. Okay, that kind of stuff. Just quicken things. These need to be stuff that you can make either right in front of them, or they don't take up too much time. These right here don't take me too much time to build because I basically set up the CNC machine to work while I'm doing other stuff. You also need to have a variety of items. Now, I will say that this is where I've been slacking off because we've kind of specialized in bowls. Now, I'm just now getting back into making boxes. Right now, I'm making a lot of turned items because they're fairly fast and I can batch them out fairly quickly. But in the future, I will be making traditional boxes, clocks, and stuff like that. But you need to have a good variety that is targeting the market you're at. If you're doing a farmer's market, cut up some boards, put a little ledges on the bottom, call them cutting boards, sell them for $25. Just have something there that kind of market's doing. If you're going to art market, come up with a little figurines, statuettes, that kind of stuff that somebody might want to put on their mantle. Just something quick and easy that you can make I don't want to call it easier money, but you don't have to put as much creativity in it. And save your creativity for the high dollars items that you're going to be selling. And once again, this week I'm going to try and come out with a design to make these little hand mirrors, and I'll show that to you next week, and I'll tell you how they went over. It's been a bit rambling, but I hope you get something out of this for your woodworking, because hey, the more you make, the more you gotta sell just so you can make more, because you can't store this stuff forever. Y'all be safe, have fun, and remember, it is always worth the effort to learn, create, and share with others.